Welcome to Hey, it's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour where authors talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and chat all things books. I'm your host, Carly Rae, here with speaker, model, and author Roxanne Gould. Welcome, Roxanne. I'm excited to have you. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. And right now I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, and how's the weather? Sunny?
Oh, it was yesterday, but now it's rainy and it's just so lush. It's quite beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us more about your latest book, More Than Just a Pretty Face.
Well, I'd love to. Here it is. This is my first book. And I am very excited at the response that I'm getting from women. I have some women say, I just read it and I'm going to give it to my mother to read. Or I have mothers say, I just read it and I'm going to give it to my daughter to read. So it seems like many generations are liking the book, which is very satisfying to me because the message is kind of for everybody. And the message is very focused on our thoughts, our mindset, and how it directs our life. And I offer 25 ways to become beautifully strong, basically habits that if you incorporate daily into your life will, I think, bring more happiness into your life because they have for me. So I'm just sharing what I know.
Yeah. Well, you have the second longest career in the modeling industry, lasting more than 5 decades. How did you decide what you wanted to put in More Than Just a Pretty Face?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's only, a couple hundred pages, and then there's a lot of pictures. So you're right. I had to be very selective, and I just skimmed on some experiences that I had to bring up a point that I wanted to make for the reader. So it's not really a detailed memoir of my life. I just picked out examples of what I wanted to share, things that I went through. And so I'm speaking from experience, but I think they're going to be relatable, kind of things that we all go through. And yet people learn through stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it helps resonate.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what was the hardest part of crafting this memoir? Was it actually thinking, wow, I'm writing an entire book, or was it compiling those little tidbits?
The hardest part was being vulnerable and sharing my life. There's so much self-doubt, like, why am I doing this? I've never done this before, or that's too personal. That was really hard. And what got me through those moments of hesitation was thinking, this is going to help somebody. If it helps one person, then just keep going. So when I got out of my own head and thought, this is for someone, hopefully it'll help someone else, that got me through the writing process.
Yeah. Did you have an editor with you that was like cheering you on?
Yes. And my husband. So it was really important to have support because having never done this before, it's a lengthy process. And during that process, there's a lot of doubt that comes up and you wonder, is this right? And is this interesting? And should I or shouldn't I? And what will they think?
Yeah.
Oh boy, but it was so worth it because of the response and the gratitude that people are mentioning. I'm so thankful that you wrote this. And so that just makes it's like that vulnerability turns into a strength. It's interesting that way.
Yeah. Now, what were you most excited about when you went into writing More Than Just a Pretty Face?
Excited?
Yeah.
I would be excited when it would be finally over. and just basically sharing something that I thought would be uplifting. That was really important to me. That was exciting, I guess, to think that, wow, somebody might actually incorporate into this lesson into their life and they might be more happy because of it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about writing More Than Just a Pretty Face. As you kind of mentioned, it does cover a lot of things you had to go through, like single motherhood, physical and emotional abuse. How did you go about crafting those sections and deciding like what you wanted to include?
Well, that's a really good question because it's there, as you know, very difficult to choose, when it's your own story. And I would, I guess, choose things that weren't too detailed, but it would get the point across. I didn't want it to be too much about me. And even some people say, gee, I wish you would have told more stories, but maybe just, I guess I'm a little reserved, or I just didn't want to put the focus on me. I just wanted to skim, to get the reader to have an idea of what I meant.
Yeah.
and then dive into how to get through certain challenges. So again, it would always bring back to, well, here's the lesson I learned, and here's what you can take away from it for yourself. And if I would think about what the lesson it is that I wanted to share, then it made it easier to choose the
Mhm.
stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that keeps it too, where like the reader stays engaged too, and it shows them how they can connect with you.
Absolutely, and it is a
Yeah.
very, quick read. It's
Yeah.
not like a textbook,
Yeah.
and the parts that people love the most, feedback I'm getting,
Mhm.
are these in the boxes, it says like a 5-minute recess,
Okay.
and people just love that.
Mhm.
There's one woman, and she said, "I'm taking a marker to just about every page, and I love these 5-minute resets because you can do them anywhere, and just a little 5-minute shift of your mind or your focus can really change your, trajectory of where you're headed and hopefully, just help you."
Yeah. Now, was it difficult to relive the past hardships that you went through and write them down in the memoir? Did you write everything down and then kind of go through and pick through it? Was that hard to do?
Yes, it was very hard. It's
Mhm.
very hard to conjure up the past, over time, your memory seems to latch on to the positive,
Yeah.
and you don't wanna forget the negative, but you can't when you're doing the book. You have to dive into the sore, dive
Yeah.
into the hurt, dive into the pain that you wanna forget because I thought it could help somebody else, and I needed certain details. So those were moments that were very challenging for me and almost sickening to my stomach because they were difficult. But in a way, it's also cathartic. When you dive into a fear, it helps evaporate it. So I suppose it was healing for me to do that.
Mhm. Now,
Yeah.
do you think you had to be at this point in your life to write the memoir to be able to like go back and then use that to help other people?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've had decades of proof that it works.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's something about, that's one of the benefits of getting older, you do gain some wisdom, and you
Yeah.
can reflect back and, see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that helps readers too. Like you're living proof that, you can do this too. So,
Yeah, and these
yeah.
habits actually do create a benefit in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how long did it take you to write more than just a pretty face from
It
start
took
to
me a
finish?
year and a half,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
year and a half of agonizing emotion. It was not easy. There were times I thought I was gonna stop.
Yeah.
Because it was hard and
Yeah.
emotional, and there was, self-doubt having been the first book and scariness, like,
Yeah.
"This is me out there in the world,"
Yeah.
but we're all the same,
Yeah.
and so there's comfort in numbers, and it's great to hear other women support me as they read what I've been through, as I support them. So it's actually a great symbiosis that happens. So I'm so happy I did it. It was so worth the painful moments and the labor of love. And before you know it, it's a year and a half goes by.
Yeah. Now, did you ever have writer's block?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I expected that. I'm also an artist, and it's just as hard to stare at a blank canvas and think, where do I start? What am I doing? What's my vision? Where do I want to go with this? It's, any kind of creative endeavor is like that. You you get a blank. You draw a blank and um you just start. And
Mhm.
then it flows. You just start without judgment. You just start on anything, and
Mhm.
you kind of um, just allow whatever it is to come out. And then you say, oh, this is the thread I want to pick up. This is where I'm going.
Mhm.
This is what my subconscious wants to tell me.
Mhm. Now,
Yeah.
how did you prep for writing? Like, do you have a writer's background or did you, outline a lot of it before you wrote?
Yeah, I did read a lot online
Mhm.
from authors. I read a lot on outlining books. I read a lot on how to divide your story into chapters, then how to divide your subject matter within the chapter, and that is so helpful.
Mhm.
It's learning. It was like
Mhm.
a crash course I was teaching myself, and those really helped.
Mhm.
It helped me get an outline going.
Yeah. Now, how does writing compare to modeling or being a speaker and life coach? Is it totally different or kind of similar?
Oh, you're right. It's very, very different because in
Yeah.
modeling, you show up and you don't have to speak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true.
You don't speak as a model.
Yeah.
And, it's completely the opposite. I'm not only
Mhm.
speaking, but I'm creating the words.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that also, I think, came with age because I was ready to speak. I
Yeah.
was ready to have my voice be heard and to share my own words after
Mhm.
so many years of it not being needed.
Yeah. Well, can readers expect another book from you?
Ooh, I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it going to
Yeah.
be another memoir?
No, I don't know, maybe I could get some feedback. I was thinking maybe one on health and exercise
Mm,
and
yeah.
health and diet,
Yeah.
and also perhaps a book of, um, women writing in questions, and then I answer them.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
like a Q&A.
like a Q&A compiled
Yeah.
in one book. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if anyone has a thought, I would be very open to hear it.
Yeah, they can definitely comment their questions below too. And then you could even divide it into like chapters, like health or
Yes,
questions women have on that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that's it.
Yeah. Hey. Well, is there anything else you want to add, Roxanne, about your book, where people can find you on social media, where
Sure.
where they can write you questions?
Sure. You can contact me on my website, which is roxmod.me,
Okay.
and see what I'm up to. I'm not only still modeling, but I'm also coaching, and I sell um, I sell this on Amazon in different languages. And yes, I am so excited to hear comments and ideas from women out there that are willing to share with me.
Well, you heard Roxanne. Go check out her latest novel, More Than Just a Pretty Face. Thank you all so much for joining me on this episode of Book Hour. Tune in next week for an all new episode. In the meantime, you can stay up to date on all things Hey, It's Carly Rae at Hey, It's Carly Rae on social media or HeyitsCarlyRae.com. Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you, Carly Rae.